Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I gotta, like, I don't even know where to begin because you have a whole album to go through.
Yes.
But also, like, you're very seasoned and really smart, and you've also lived a crazy fucking life. Can you describe what it feels like to be releasing your third album?
God, it feels like a relief. It feels really exciting. I've just been working on it for so long, and it took me a while to get to this place, and now for it to finally be like a couple months away feels really exciting.
Did it really begin with a journal from CVS?
It really did begin with a journal from CVS.
But like, what pushes you to even buy that journal or show up to CVS?
I just needed a notebook, to be honest. I needed a note to write my lyrics.
Is
so
that
when I
how
was
you
in the studio.
Is that you document always?
No, I hadn't done it for my previous records, but I felt like I wanted to start journaling. And I felt like I wanted to start writing on paper because I wanted to get off my screen. I always have this thing where, especially when I first started touring, I was like, okay, I want to spend less time on my phone because my whole life revolves around being on social media and like posting and telling people what I'm up to, that I like when I'm on a plane, I don't connect to the Wi-Fi. I turn my phone off. I read a book. I don't even watch a movie because I'm trying to like stay off screens.
I respect that.
So I love to read. And then I was like, okay, I want to journal. And then that's what I decided. I also loved the idea of just, I don't know, felt good to write things down. I didn't know how important that CVS notebook would become in the end. But it's really one of my prized possessions.
Do you remember your first entry?
Yeah, I actually wrote Radical Optimism on the very first page.
Really?
Yeah.
Where does that idea or spirit or how would you describe it? What is radical optimism?
So radical optimism was a term that was actually introduced to me through a friend of mine in a conversation similar like this. And I just felt so connected to it. It was also during the time when I was about to go on my Future Nostalgia tour. And, you know, I just made this whole record that I'd envisioned was going to be played out, you know, in clubs and people were going to go out and dance. And then obviously we all went through collectively a pandemic. And the way that I had initially envisioned people to experience that record went out the window. And I think that kind of showed me so much radical optimism just in the fact of letting go is so important. And that some things you just can't control, and what's meant to be will be. And I'm a firm believer that every single thing takes its own course. Everything has its own life and it comes out the way it's supposed to. The way people react to it is the way they're supposed to. There are some things that are just completely out of my control. And I think because I'm such a planner, because I'm someone who loves to like make sure that everything's down to the, you know, to the minute, because that's how I feel like I'm in control of my life, especially when I'm so busy, that it's shown me the importance of spontaneity and just rolling with the unexpected. And radical optimism followed me through these past few years where things might not go the way that I envision them to. Things might not work out the way that I want them to. Things might, you know, whatever that may be, but it doesn't mean that it's the be all and end all, or it's the end of something, or quite the contrary. It's actually the beginning, or it pushes you and propels you to grow and to change and to see things from a different perspective. And so radical optimism just became more and more prevalent. And so everything that I was writing had an optimistic flair. And I have this belief that what I write and what I sing almost becomes a manifestation, because I say it all the time. So it's like a mantra and it becomes
so true.
It's like a repetitive thing. And so as long as I'm putting in something positive, and for everyone who's listening to it and everyone who's singing it, if I can inject some optimism and some positivity and some fun and light to whatever we're feeling, then I'm being of service in some way. And however that's received is how it's supposed to. And that's out of my control. So I'm trying to be a radical optimist.
How do you balance that with, okay, people who work with you will describe you as somebody who will work till a lyric is perfectly perfect. You've been described as a perfectionist. Like, you admittedly have a type A personality. So how do you balance that with being able to flow and to look at any situation and find the good in it?
I think, well, even the idea of going back in and like changing every lyric came with confidence and came with time. Like, I didn't have that before in my albums. Whatever I wrote on that first day in the studio was pretty much what ended up in the
Really?
in the album. Like maybe some minor tweaks or some changes of a word or maybe a minor melody change or something, you know? But the way that it was made there and then in the studio was probably how it was heard.
Was that because of fear of speaking up for change? Or?
No, it was more just the fact that I was like, that's as good as I'm going to get it, and that is my best. Whereas now I'm at a point where I'm like confident enough to dig a little deeper and feel like I can get better out of myself.
I get it.
And I can conduct myself in a room, especially when I was first starting. I was going in with songwriters and producers who'd been doing this for way longer than I had. You know, for me, I was going in like a kid with a dream that just wanted to sing and perform and write songs, but hadn't really known the process of going in with an idea, creating a song, and then having to perform it and tour it around the world. Now I know what is needed of me. Now I know, you know, what it's like to perform these songs in front of a crowd. And now I know what it is to rehearse and prepare for a performance and a show. And so that kind of changed my perspective. And like, I need every little thing to be perfect to aid me in the rest of the steps, you know?